take care of yourself. Do your meditation, your exercise, get a good diet, start sleeping better, start learning to sleep better, start taking care of yourself better physically. And I promise, mentally and spiritually, you'll flower. That when you feel good physically, I'm telling you, way more likely to feel grateful for life, way more likely to sense meaning and flow and fulfillment of the day. So get your energy up, because you know what? When you're wiped out, it's really easy to be pulled into discouragement. When you're wiped out and someone says something negative to you, it's so easy to believe them because you don't even have the mental power for critical thinking to talk yourself out of that negative stuff they just threw at you. And you accept what they say, the emotions hit. You just don't even have the energy to mentally fight back anymore. You got to take care of your health first and foremost. When I talk about aliveness, it always comes from a place of physical vibrancy and health. You've got to take care of yourself. And that usually is, for mental and physical, meditation, exercise, good diet, great sleep. You start with those things, everything starts to shift. Everything starts to shift. And I say this all the time because if you are fatigued all the time, you will be less likely to feel fulfilled because you're empty. When you're physically empty all the time, how are you going to feel fulfilled? Got it? You got to fill your gas tank once in a while. Take a break. Do more resets throughout the day. Breathe again. You want to feel fulfilled? Sit and breathe and feel grateful for 10 minutes. Simple. We just got to breathe again.
Need motivation? Watch the top 10 of Believe Nation because I love it. Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Brendon Burchard, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, allow ambition back into your life.
These last couple years, a lot of people stopped dreaming because we were just kind of trying to survive. We were trying to deal with and cope with all of the drama and the trauma and the chaos and the uncertainty that came along with a pandemic, with global economic shifts, with lots of political vitriol around the world. We were in this place of just watching it was intense. And so when that intensity hits us, we tend to hunker down. And now many of us work remote. We don't see as people as often as we used to. And so we've constricted our lives in certain ways. And that's caused us sometimes to be disconnected from a bigger vision for our lives. And so I'd love for you to allow ambition in your life. You can have ambition in your life and deep appreciation for the moment. Ambition doesn't mean you don't appreciate your life now. And ambition doesn't mean you become a jerk to run over people. Ambition means you have a great desire for a great future. And that's okay to have again.
Rule number 3, commit to positive self-talk.
Every day, that self-talk commands you to be congruent with the best of who you are. And the more you are congruent, the more you are fulfilled. You can do fulfilling things, but if you are incongruent, you don't feel fulfilled. Think about that, because your mind, your body, your spirit knows if you're being congruent, if you are a person of integrity, living the best life. If the further you are away from that, the harder it is to be fulfilled, even if you're doing fulfilling things like serving people. So get your self-talk realigned. I can't emphasize anymore how important it is to master this area of your life, to take control, to create a consistent routine of positive self-talk that guides you towards being your best every day so that you have more opportunities. You're going to have lots of misses, but because you're stepping at the plate, you'll have more swings. You'll have more opportunities to hit a home run. You'll have more opportunities to have the at-bat to be your best self. And the more that you do that, the more hits you get. The more hits you get, the better you feel, the more competent and capable. And so I'm encouraging you all to please, please, please remember this. Say amazing things to yourself. Have an affirmation list. Have a practice. Do it at a certain time, a certain date. In my world, I'm blessed to run with the greatest motivational speakers of our time, and all of them have something they say to themselves backstage before they go out on stage. Do they need to do that? No. Yes. If they don't, see, they're commanding themselves. They're willing themselves. They're encouraging themselves. If you don't like the word command or demand, they're encouraging themselves to get into the right state of mind to have their best performance, their best service, so that later on they can go, that was really great. I appreciate that. I feel good about that. I feel fulfilled. See, it's hard to feel fulfilled if you don't feel good about how you showed up. When you feel good about how you show up again and again and again and again, the senses of meaning and fulfillment lift up.
Rule number 4, believe you're worth it.
There's a part of reinventing your life that really says, I'm worth it. I'm worth having a better future. A part of reinvention that says, I'm capable. No matter what I've been through, I am capable. I am stronger than I think. I know I can build and architect the future I desire. And there's a part of reinvention that says it is possible. It's possible to change. It's possible to manifest your dreams. It's possible to improve every area of your life, even just small little tweaks. It's possible to have what you desire, to be who you know you can become, to manifest a future where you are happier and healthier and wealthier and in more love with yourself and your life. It is possible. I'm worthy. I'm capable. It's possible. You must begin there if there's any hope for reinventing or changing our lives. Because if you don't feel worthy, well, that's on you to change. No one's going to give you a permission card that says, finally, hey, babe, you're ready. You're worthy of change now. No, it is an internal reinvention of your mindset of how you perceive yourself. And that perception of self, what that comes down to being is, I'm going to honor myself and honor the gifts I've been given and honor this breath and use the short time on this planet to enjoy it and to build and enjoy the life that I truly desire. I'm worthy of that. No one has to give me a permission card. I have to open up my brain and go, you know what? Dang, I'm a good person. I went through a lot of in my life. I've struggled, I've fought, I'm here, and I still showed up today. I'm worthy.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, choose joy every day.
I recognized at some point my attitude and energy in the world was my choice. And I thought, if I get to choose over the long term and in the moment, I want to experience joy. I want to be happy and free and loving and light. And I'm going to bring that into each day. I really believe if you want one thing from today, if you could take one thing as a major intention this year, I would ask for you to choose to bring the joy every day. It doesn't mean I have to fake it till I make it. It doesn't mean that I don't have dark, difficult days and moments of my life. It just means on par, over the average, across the days, most often you're going to get joy from this kid. That's a choice. I was not born that way. You have to challenge yourself to go to the next level, whatever that is for you, right? Whatever that is for you, what is that? Please write it down. What is the next level of challenge for you this year? In your business, if you have a business, what's the challenges you're going to take on? Right? Whether you call that goals, priorities, initiatives, OKRs, key performance indicators, whatever you call it, those are deliberate challenges. You are setting a step ladder of ever increasing challenges, not because you're a glutton for punishment, because in your heart, you know there's potential.
Rule number 6, shake things up.
A lot of fulfillment can feel, quote unquote, boring. You're doing meaningful things, but it can feel boring if you don't once in a while have a pop, a celebration, something new. That's why you got to shift it up, shake it up, change it up once in a while. Otherwise, it gets stale. Even good things. And again, I tell you this from a person who spent 2 decades working with a lot of nonprofit people. So often they're doing such good work in the world, but if they don't give themselves a campaign or a fundraiser or a new initiative once in a while, they'll quit, they'll leave, they'll get bored. They won't make their difference anymore. You personally have to shake things up in your life. You. I always tell people, if every new thing coming into your life or every new challenge you're dealing with is coming from the external, you haven't yet started your personal growth journey. People on a personal growth journey, they know they have to conscientiously shift and shape and learn and build new things, try new things, push beyond comfort zones. Just like keep not because they're on this ever increasing, demand to succeed. No, because they recognize in the middle of all of it is growth. They've got to put themselves in positions to explore the world, to learn more, to grow. And that exploration and adventure and variety and novelty comes from learning new things, trying new things, doing new things, being with new people. All of that is what's necessary. All of that is what's necessary. I think if you think about aliveness from a perspective of health, what I call, taking your meds, meditation, exercise, diet, and sleep, your meds, right? Then you think about, okay, aliveness also comes from adventure and exploration. It's like those two also go together really well, right? Go to a new place, take a new adventure. Go to that town, try mountain biking, try swimming, try scuba diving, try go up in a hot air balloon, try running on a new trail, try swimming, try something new in new places that physically engage you. And all of a sudden life becomes a little bit more adventurous. And when it becomes a little more adventurous, we can feel the sense of meaning a little bit more because it shakes us out of the normal stuff. And we can look back to it and go, oh, right. Yeah. The power of exploration has been written about, for over 10,000 years. It's that old story of the person who has to go on a big adventure outside of his or her lands only to come back and dig in the backyard and find an acre of diamonds. You ever heard that? They go seeking for wealth all around the world. And it's not until they come back home that they recognize it from a new viewpoint.
Rule number 7, develop a growth mindset.
If the only challenges you're facing in life right now are the ones that life threw at you, that's why you're unhappy. You're only in reacting mode. You're not in growing mode. Let me say it again. You're in reacting mode, not growing mode. You're going through the motions. And even if you're congruent, you're being a good person. You're showing up, trying each day to be yourself, be your best. But if you still feel unfulfilled, if you still feel like you haven't broken through, that's a good higher calling to honor that is saying to you, challenge yourself, young man, challenge yourself, young woman, challenge yourself, my friend. It is time to rise to the next level. The world, the universe, God, your soul, your spirit is demanding more of you. Rise to the next level. That is a beautiful impulse. We must hear. And if we don't hear it, it's because we've drowned it with negative thinking and the wrong intentions. So we must now challenge ourselves. 2022, this year, this is a year for you of challenging yourself and not getting discouraged.
Rule number 8, remember your journey.
To remind yourself of how capable you are because how far you've come, the childhood you came out of, the trauma and difficulties and challenges has been thrown in your life, and you're still here, still working on yourself. Let's go, growth day. You're still striving. Good for you. It's possible. It's okay to desire something great in our lives. It's absolutely okay. So please let that ambition back in as you think about reinvention. You can be centered, you can be happy, and you can still, in that place of being centered and happy, build a great future. In fact, my argument would be, you can't do it any other way. Until you actually open up a new realm of appreciation and consciousness right here in this moment in your real daily life, you're not going to build the greatest future you could have. Instead, you're going to act out of fear or lack or insecurity, and you're going to build another future that doesn't have boundaries, that isn't healthy, that isn't something that you want. But when you start from a place of being centered and conscious and happy with what we have, feeling blessed, you open up another realm of brainstorming and a higher vibration of ambition that allows you to see a future in which you are serving with excellence, caring for others, living a deeply meaningful life. It all starts with allowing ambition in, saying to ourselves, I'm worthy, I am capable, and it is possible for me. If you believe that, then I know you can reinvent your life in whatever way is appropriate, meaningful, and exciting for you.
Rule number 9, improve your self-talk.
Where does your conscious self-talk happen each day? See, what most people realize, like, oh, wait, I do have time for that. But there's no consistency in what they're saying to themselves. And guess what? Without consistent self-talk, there is no consistent character. Let me say it again. Without consistent self-talk, there's no consistent character. So what, Brendon? Well, guess what? If we lack congruence in our life, we lack a sense of fulfillment in our life. When we aren't being congruent with the person we know we should be, which tends to come from our self-talk, then we never feel fulfilled because we feel so far away from our ideal. How do you get someone closer to your ideal? You have to start changing the language they're using in their head for themselves. And so I want you to have a consistent self-talk pattern. Maybe that means for you, you write down an I am statement, or you write down a purpose statement, or you write down affirmations that you're going to use on a consistent basis over and over and over again.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is step outside of your life.
Most people don't recognize what they have until they've left it or it's been taken away. Then they come back or they want it back and they go, oh my gosh, I love this thing. This thing is so valuable. This is so important. This is so meaningful in my life. And I always tell people, don't be that guy. Be the person who sees it now. And one of the ways to see it now is to make sure you're doing new enough things and then practicing self-awareness so that you can have that little compare and contrast and you recognize the value of what you have around you. Most people have so much more to be grateful for than they actually are because they don't even see it. It's right in front of them. But until they leave that context and they come back, then they go, oh, right. You know, it's kind of like when you were growing up, you thought your parents or your family, everything was just crazy and not awful. And then you went to another person's house that was more crazy and awful. And you came back home, you thought, whew, I'm so happy I'm home. You know, that happens metaphorically in a lot of parts of our lives, right? You thought your job was terrible and then you took a new job and it was way worse. And you thought, oh my God, what have I done? Right? The grass is always greener. But the good news is when we go through that open gate and we walk back and forth because we're trying new things throughout our lives, we can see that the grass is green over here too, and over there. And we can start sensing more meaning and fulfillment in every area of our lives. Perspective you get from time away from something or from other angles into something. And so the most important thing that I can encourage you to do, just like I asked you to socialize sadness, is to share how you're viewing the problems that you're having in your life or the challenges. And what I mean by that is literally share how you're thinking about it. So if you're struggling with something with your team or your business, then go to your team and say, hey, can I just walk you through how I'm thinking about this and seeing this? Perspective is not trying to solve anything, right? This doesn't say problem solving. It says perspective. It means you share specifically with other people how you are thinking about something and ask how they would think about it. Follow me? So it's like, you know, I'm dealing with this loss in the business right now, and it's really bumming me out. I don't know really how to think. Can I just share you how I'm thinking about it? And you need either a coach who can hear that, a comrade, a collaborator, a colleague, someone who you know, like, and trust, who you can just share how you're thinking through more often. Because most disappointments happen because we get myopic, meaning we narrow our focus solely to the problem. And in not describing how we're viewing it, we can't broaden it. And so no matter what we have found in almost all social psychology research, in almost everything that I know to be true, having coached high performers for so long, is that if we can get you sharing how you're thinking about things and feeling about things with others, and not trying to problem solve, but just asking how they would look at it, it actually makes you look at it a different way. Like, here's what's been going on. Here's how I'm looking at it. How would you look at it? And they might go, oh, well, I look at that. That's like really great for you. You go, what? And like, well, it gives you time now to kind of restart. You know, it's like when Steve Jobs came back to Apple. He had a very different perspective going back to Apple than he had when he was already running it before, but got fired. And that perspective allowed him to do better. He had to go to another organization and start another company and have a whole new set of team members to help him look at things differently, that allowed him, when he came back to the same problem, if you will, the same opportunity, if you will, Apple, he saw it in a completely different way because he'd been with a different group of people, considering a different problem, and he learned a new ways to think. And that's what we always have to do. Keep expanding your ways of thinking about things. Think about it. You wake up, you grab your phone, you're like, you know, and all of a sudden you don't have any motivation. Instead, you look through all this stuff and all it did is make you feel like you're not enough, or it distracted you, or it upset you, or it created, you know, anger or anxiousness. You got to be careful how you're using cues to start your day. I use cues to start my day motivated. And those cues to start my day motivated are things like, I literally wake up and I'll wake up and I'll think of things that I'm grateful for and that I want to give in life. I'll wake up and I'll think about someone I want to do something nice for or surprise today. I'll think of something I can be excited about today. I'll, as soon as possible in the morning, revisit my ambitions list, my goals list. I'll look at them. I'll not wander through the day looking at social media and then, oh, I guess it's time to work and look at my goals. It's like my goals, I mean, in the first few minutes of the day, I'm revisiting them. And what I'm doing is, when I'm looking at my goals or my agenda or my schedule, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, why do I want this? What would life be like this? How could I go get it? What should I do today to make that happen? And that motivates me. That's my list of goals, my list of ambitions, the things that can excite me. In other words, it's very intrinsic goals. It's intrinsic rewards that I'm after. I'm like, if I go do that, I will feel better. If I could have this, I'd be happier, right? It's not that I can't be happy with now, but I want to pull. Like, if I can have that future pull, that's going to motivate me to go do stuff. Right? I have to literally generate that in my mind. And so when I have that connection in the morning, then my takeaway for you is connect with your ambitions every morning, very first thing in the morning. Somehow part of your morning routine, connect with your ambitions. Look at them. Why do you want them? What would you get from that? How would you feel from that? What would that generate? Why would life be more meaningful? Really connect with that ambition every single morning, and you'll start to notice you feel better. First, we're going to look for a passion for what we do, which I know is very esoteric, but you need to know it, right? For our company, for our industry, we look for people who are passionate about personal development, professional development and growth, personal change, self-help, people who love personal growth and challenge. We want people who have a passion for that. So we identify the passion related to our company. You have to do that too. And you have to be able to articulate it because you're going to look for it in interviews. Then For us, because we're still a startup, we're under 40 some people, right? Our goal is we look for the ability or the history to deal with unknowns and to get stuff done. Meaning people who are adaptable, flexible, who can come in and kind of figure things out and get things done. They have an experience of either starting new things or being on projects where it was not super well defined. The company they worked for or the teams they work with were fairly flat and self-managed. Just people who can kind of come in and figure things out and get things done. Third, we're looking for people who have ownership to any failures or struggles. One of my favorite questions to ask people when I'm interviewing one-on-one is a question like, tell me about a time when you were working on a project that you really loved and it completely fell apart. Or a project that was really important and it didn't turn out well. How did you handle it? Tell me about that. And if they describe that and all they do is talk about how everybody else screwed up and they were the savior, and then they're probably not the right person. I look for people who go, you know what? This was a project we were working on. It didn't go so well. And I want them to be able to see I want them to go, I'm bummed that didn't turn out. If someone can describe a train wreck with no emotion to it, don't hire them. So if you ask somebody, tell me about a time that you did a project and it sucked, and they're like, well, and they have no emotion, they're called a sociopath. Don't hire those. They don't do good in culture. Okay? You want to make sure that someone has feeling and emotion to something that failed in the past, that's going to have passion for what you're doing. I always tell people, one of the number one things I love to hire for, which is weird with my new team here, but I love to hire for this single quality, guilt. I love to hire for guilt. What I mean is, I love to hire people that I know if they do a bad job, they'll feel bad about it.
The very first move you must do when you feel that coming on, when you're like getting whacked around into chaos, the very first thing I want you to always remember to do is center in on your breath. I want you, as soon as you feel like angry, start taking deep breaths from the belly, and I want you to count those breaths 20 times. Just start, like immediately start counting your breathing. If someone's hollering and screaming, before you holler and scream back and react, breathe. The best way to center the mind and the body is through deep breathing. There's literally thousands of years of research behind this in terms of both the more anecdotal to what we now know in neuroscience. That deep breathing can deeply calm the mind and help you make better decisions. So just breathe. Just breathe. Is there somewhere, can you show me on a wall, visually in your house, not on your computer, not in your little phone, not on this one little note that you tuck away and you hide from everybody else so they don't see what you're working on? No, show me a wall with your battle plan. See, so many people don't break through. And they don't break through because what's ended up happening for them is so often they're in this place where, unfortunately, the truth is, they didn't have a plan. And they won't talk about it, and they won't say anything to anybody. And yet, if you get down to it, you start coaching, you start working with them, you find out they didn't have a plan. They did not have a plan. And so I think it's so important that you realize the value of having your battle plan, right? So a battle board. What's a battle board? If I showed you your house, you would have a wall somewhere. Maybe it's maybe you wrote it on a regular 8.5 by 11, or if you saw it in my room, it's like I literally got like butcher paper, and I take, some blue tape, and I strap this thing on this butcher tape across the wall. And what is on that wall? There's 12 boxes on that wall, ladies and gentlemen. What's on that battle board? 12 boxes. What's each box? Yep, a month. Each box represents 1 month. And within that box, what do I have written down? The goals that have to happen that month. The metrics that have to happen that month. The steps I'm going to take that month. The key activities of that month. Right there on the battle board. Y'all got it? So, and I've seen a lot of these from clients before. I'll walk in and there's their battle board. And they might have a fancy one made out of burlap and tacks and beautiful Instagram ready battle board. And here's what they got. They got their mission statement across the top. And then they've got on there a reminder of the 3 words of who they want to be as a person. Enthusiastic, bold, present. Oh, I like that. Then they've got the 12 boxes. Oh, look, in July, here's the numbers they're trying to hit. Here's what they're trying to do in August. Here's what they're trying to do in September. And on that battle board, it might be the most simple things. It might be in September, event coming up. Okay, what are they doing before the event? Here's the 5 steps. Okay, October, what are they doing? They're taking the vacation. Here's what's going on. But visually representing your battle plan that's on a wall that you see all the time is so important. You must start training your mind now to deal with stress. Many of you, that means it is finally time to start learning meditation. It's like you've been thinking about it, you kind of meditate once in a while, and you've thought about it, or you did that one retreat one time. I'm like, make it a daily part of your life to center yourself every single day. For some of you, centering yourself, that just means closing your eyes, thinking about who you want to be, thinking about what's important, just calming your mind down. Other people, centering is like that can be just like if you're super stressed, lay down, take a quick nap. For some of you, that can mean like the important self-talk. Some of you, that means meditation. Like for me, if I don't center myself every day, twice a day, actively, the next day I know I'm going to get short with somebody. I'm going to let anxiousness get to me. I'll get my nerves. I'll get frustrated. I'll bow out. I'll quit. It's so clear. It's like super obvious to me that the days that I don't center end up in tomorrows that are chaotic. And so I just got to make sure I take that time every day. That might mean you go take a 45-minute walk. Many of you guys know every single day I walk outside. Every day. Rain, water, snow, sleet, I don't care. I will walk 30 to 45 minutes outside every day. I don't miss, because that just being out in nature and breathing and feeling the wind on my face and the sun just calms me down, gets me grounded back into the earth and into nature. And it's like, okay, every day. So for 20 plus years, I meditate at least once a day. I think for the last 14, maybe 11 years, I've meditated twice per day. Sometimes it's only 5 minutes both sessions. Sometimes it's 10 minutes both sessions. And when I don't get that, I might take like a 30-minute nap in the afternoon. At some point, I'll sneak away. Even when I used to have a corporate job and work for somebody else, I'd go close the door in one of the rooms, one of the meeting conference rooms. I close my eyes for 20 minutes. I meditate, take a nap, lay on the floor, do whatever I have to do to recenter my mind.
I'm a writer, I'm a coach, and I'm a trainer. My job is to share things that are relevant to the teaching point. So it's, what am I trying to teach? Now I'll share case studies about my life or some research, but it's pretty limited towards only what I'm teaching. Mm-hmm. And people sign up for me to teach a very specific thing. So they're not seeing the whole picture of my life. They're just learning that specific thing. So I think it also left a lot of people going, okay, he's super successful, but I don't know anything about him.
Right.
And that created...
It's hard to trust people you don't know anything about.
Yes. Or you read the Motivation Manifesto, right? There is no Brendon in that book. Mm. The publisher famously turned down the book. We had a $2 million book deal. I turned in the book, and the editor goes, "What the hell is this? You wrote it like it's 1776. There's not one story of you in here. Your audience wants to know about you." I'm like, yeah, but that's not what I'm writing for. Mm-hmm. I'm writing for the art. And so they said, we can't publish and we can't this book is unmarketable.
So you wrote a $2 million check back.
Wrote it back, which is painful because I already spent it. But
then you went and sold 1 million copies.
Yeah, then we went in 32 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list after they turned it down.
With no publisher. Well, I guess you had like a...
Yeah, we went to Hay House and they supported it and distributed it and did a great job on it. And I love them, and their community really got behind the book because they knew I wrote it for the art, not for I didn't sell out on the book. This was my artistic... My art has never been like talking about Brendon. My art has been, I want to teach, but I want to teach in a way that really hits you in the heart and gives you habits that you can implement in your life. But that also took me out of the picture a little bit because I didn't want to be the guru. I didn't want to be, I'm from Montana. We're pretty private there. And one of our main sayings there is, the time to have the map is before you enter the woods. So I just wanted to hand people the map. I didn't want to hand people like, look at me. I also had a big influence from my high school journalism teacher. And she said, there's two kinds of people. One who walks into a room and goes, here I am. And the other person walks into a room and goes, there you are.
In relationships, repair is resilience. Repair is resilience in a relationship. What do I mean by that? Well, we think of like perseverance in terms of resilience. I'm like, no. In relationships, it's repair. The ability to repair a conflict after it happens, to say I'm sorry, to apologize, to accept apologies, to fix the situation or understand like this happened. We didn't want that to happen. Let's try this next time. And allowing the ego to fade out of that, to be able to say I'm sorry, to be able to say I was wrong, to be able to say you're right, to be able to say, you know what, we didn't want that together, without the hatred or the blame is everything. Denise said this morning, she says, it's so important to apologize, for the other to accept that apology, and for the two of you to decide to move on. I love that, right? It's like, okay, apologize. The other person's gonna go, I hear you apologizing. I appreciate that you're apologizing. Thank you for owning that. What can we do better next time so we don't run into that? And moving it from problem focused to solution focused, moving it from blame and upset to the next thing. That's so important. That's what I mean by repair. People have to learn how to repair when they mess up together. And you have to anticipate, we're all gonna mess up together, right? I mess up all the time, but I'm so, personally, in all areas of my life, but I'm the first to apologize. Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't anticipate that. I'm sorry that happened. Oh, I see where you're coming from. Okay, got it, understood. And it's like that repair, like intrigue, maybe it's because I'm a people pleaser. I want everyone to feel good after an argument, like right away. I'm not a steward. I can't remember anything negative that happened last week. We bring the joy. We create a positive atmosphere, a positive community. We want that enthusiasm and that joy and that positivity because everybody has had the opposite. And when you have the opposite, it sucks, right? We've all worked for a negative leader. We've all been in a negative environment. We've all been in that place where you're just doing tasks and you're like, God, this job sucks because there wasn't a spirit that was imbued there. And you've all heard me say, the power plant doesn't have energy. It generates energy. I don't believe we just have joy spontaneously, though it can happen. I think we're responsible for bringing the joy in our life. We have to bring the joy into our workplace. You're not always gonna have tasks that make you feel perfect and bright and fulfilled. So you know what? It's about how you carry that load. It's about your attitude to the activities. It's about your understanding of how things all fit together to make the big difference. These are concepts that you share when we say bring the joy. It's like bring joy into your work, even if the work is unloading the dishwasher. Bring joy into the work, even if the work is as simple as like answering 50 emails. Bring joy into the work, even if you've made your 50th quote card for the week. It's like you have to put the meaning into your work if you're gonna be world class and not hope for the meaning to come out of every activity and task, right? It's so important. It's like Muhammad Ali said, he hated every single workout at some point. He hated them, but he knew he had to do them to be excellent, right? It's easy not to, enjoy everything that you do, so you have to bring the joy to that thing.
Your life doesn't end up in an accident. Your life is a series of actions that you initiate or don't initiate. And that your thoughts are going to control that roadmap. And so how are you using your mind today to either make yourself feel great or not? I posted on Instagram this morning. I said, listen, your destiny is ultimately controlled by a decision you already made this morning. Everyone watching this already made a decision this morning. This morning, they made it a life-changing, huge decision this morning. And that is either I'm going to get up
enter the world with no intention, go through the motions to hopefully get by or survive, or I am going to get clear in this morning about what I want, what I'm going after, who I'm going to be, how I'm going to serve, and whether or not I'm going to be excellent and extraordinary or not. And the problem is most people never make that conscious decision. And so I was learning early on, make the conscious decision about who you want to be each day, stay congruent with that. And that was, for me, a kid who was just going through the motions, all of a sudden going, oh, who do I want to be? What do I want my relationships to be like? That was really important. And then I started setting personal challenges every month. You can live the high performance experience like literally now. Stop thinking one day you'll be next level, world class, best, rich, happy, fulfilled. Do that now. Like live today as a wealthy individual. You feel wealth in your mindset. You feel wealth in your abundance of life. You feel wealth because you're alive. You feel wealth because you're gifted this beautiful breath. You feel wealth and joy and fulfillment now because the little things, the way the cat is, the way the dog is, the way that beautiful person was today who is kind to you, the opportunities you have in front of you, the internet that's free of learning just like this. There's so many things along your journey to achieve your dream that you can appreciate and notice and be fulfilled from. And I just want to share with you that I got to have that experience because many of you all along my career has cheered me on.
You know the old days, like in the 80s and 90s, maybe you don't know the 80s and 90s, I don't know how old you are, but in the 80s and 90s was very big, like put your values in words up on the walls all around your office. It was like integrity, as if any company didn't have that as a value, but let's integrity, right? Or you'd have another one over here of just like love, or like one singular word, excellence. And it was all over the place. And then there was a big poster with an eagle flying and a motivational quote from Les Brown or something, right? You remember those? Like that was really exciting times and people loved all that stuff. And that's all really good. But the issue with it is people don't own it and live it because you're not naming those things as things that we do versus just cold words on a wall. And so you have to take all of your values and say, what do we do here that makes us unique or good? And so like if you have values in your mind that you want all your people to have, write all those values down as a list, but then write them in a way that really defines what those values are as things that you do. So for example, when I share with my team, when I'm onboarding, I share these 4 things. I say, okay, these are what make us unique and special. This is what we do here as a culture. So I say, this is what we do as a culture versus just a word or a value. Let me give you an example. Like first one, we challenge ourselves. That embodies almost everything that is important to me in this brand, in this business. We challenge ourselves. That's something that we do, right? We challenge ourselves. And so when people turn something in, did you challenge yourself on that? Okay, did you set a larger goal? Are you going for a stretch goal? Are you trying hard things? Did you challenge yourself with what you're submitting here, right? We want to always challenge ourselves to develop deeper skills, better abilities, better ways to contribute. So we challenge ourselves here. We're going to push, and that also allows an understanding like we're going to challenge you because it's not challenge yourself. It's we challenge ourselves. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you. You're going to challenge you. You're going to challenge you. You're going to challenge me. Like setting the context that challenge is part of this thing. We challenge ourselves. And that's the expectation. That for me embodies tons of principles, tons of philosophies. That's like embodies hard work and excellence. That embodies the openness to feedback. That embodies the willingness to push beyond our comfort zone. Embodies so many concepts. We challenge ourselves. Now you need to make a list like this. I don't want you all to just go and use mine. I want you to be like, what's important to you? What do we do here? The second one for us is we take care of each other. That's a huge one. I've been in, other companies where they say we treat each other like family, or, we care for each other like family. Whatever it is, it's like we just say we take care of each other. And that embodies that we're attentive. We're present with each other. We know each other's story. We know what's going on in each other's lives. We're here for you if something sucks and you need a shoulder to cry on or somebody to help you with your work. Like, we care about each other is important. We take care of each other. We take care of each other like family. We take care of each other like we're all in this together. And that embodies openness, that embodies the willingness for feedback, that embodies the support, that embodies compassion and empathy and kindness. I don't have to put empathy on a friggin' billboard in the office. I go, we take care of each other. And that embodies that word. Does that make sense? That's why I'm saying to you, like, write it out as we do these things. Like, that's why I'm saying it. Name your values as things we do.
In our lives, especially when we're being reactive, information comes in, right? We're at an event, we're paying attention to how people treat us, we're studying something, we're trying to learn something, and we're just going about our regular day. Information is coming in. How people perceive us, the cause and effect of events, things are just happening. Information comes into the brain. From that point, the information immediately goes into interpretation. And what this usually means is interpretation in the fast reactive thing is safe, unsafe, good, bad, like it, don't like it, recognize it, don't recognize it. Been there, done that, unfamiliar, familiar, certain, uncertain, fear, safe. All these things start triggering. It's pretty unconscious and it's pretty fast. Our biases come into play. It's just that speed, spontaneous, reactive part of us. And that's not always bad. Sometimes it can be good, right? Sometimes it can be good. Interpretation can be, that event, that's good for me. Or that event, that's bad for me. But usually it's like a snap judgment. Think about that. Most when we're talking about an unconscious level, it's like a snap judgment, automatic. Like, you like her, don't like her. Feel safe, don't feel safe. It's very fast. Then the next level, and this is not always linear, of course, because your brain is not left brain, right brain kind of methodology. Your brain's more of a spider web of interconnectiveness. That is something we still don't understand, okay? You can study everything in neuroscience and you might learn something about this lobe or that cortex region, but then only to find out that later on, a year later, like, well, actually it seems like it's also communicating over here. It's a spider web of unbelievable intelligence that's happening. And everything can be hundreds of milliseconds of transitions between neural networks. It's unbelievably fast, unbelievably capable. So this is just for our understanding. It's not necessarily real world linear like this, but what tends to happen is as information comes in, good, bad, we also then move it to a level of, well, what does this mean to me? Identity. What does this mean to me? What does this either mean to me or what does this say about me? How does this apply to me? And if we're not conscious here, this can be really troublesome. Some of you discovered that yesterday, I bet, when you released a few things. Sometimes we have these events in our life that we take on and we just assume it meant something about us. And we didn't realize, no, that's more of a statement about them than it is about us, right? Sometimes when you're hurt or someone was rude to you, it had nothing to do with you. Raise your hand if you follow. It had nothing to do with you. But if you're not careful, you could say, mean person, unsafe, means I'm bad child. Rude behavior, uncertain about this, I must not belong. Terrible situation, I feel bad, I can never be safe again. How many follow how this happens? This is why we have to be very, very, very observational of our own thoughts and feelings, because how these things get labeled can really change our lives forever. Necessity is kind of short for performance necessity, or what we call psychological necessity, which means there is a moment in which you are serving people or you're trying to achieve your goal or your dream in which now it is not a preference, it's a must, right? But to use better languaging, it becomes necessary for us to excel in this. Like, it's not a hope anymore. It's not, it should do it. It becomes so necessary that it connects with our identity, that we feel it is necessary for me to deliver with excellence here because that is who I am. It's necessary for me to deliver with excellence here because somebody needs me to do well. It's necessary for me to do well here because this topic, this thing I'm doing, I'm passionate about this, I care about this, I want to master this. I'm obsessed with this. And it's necessary for me to do well because of the time. It's a deadline or it's go time. And when all those come together, that personal side of this is my identity and I'm obsessed about it, and that other side where it's like somebody needs me and there is a real deadline, right in the middle, that's performance necessity. And when we hit that, game changer.
High performers seek clarity more often than their peers. And what that means for them is every situation they go into, they're seeking clarity and setting intention. And it's not like once in a while, they're doing it way more often. It's like, I've been blessed to work with Oprah Winfrey. When she has a meeting, at the start of every meeting, she asks, what's our intention here? What's the intention of this meeting? Not what's the agenda, what do I do? What's the intention? That's every meeting. So she's seeking clarity at the beginning of every meeting. That's why she's so amazing, right? If you think about her whole career, she was always trying to have people seek clarity on who they were so they could be themselves. That's what high performers are doing. They just do it more often. They seek clarity before they shoot that video, before they have the podcast interview. But specifically, we found 3 practices help you get better at seeking clarity. Number 1, they are seeking clarity in what we call the future 4. So you've probably heard that successful people are more future-minded. It's true. And specifically what they're looking at, if you talk to a high performer, they're more clear about who do I want to be in this upcoming situation. And by the way, it's not about who I am, it's about who do I want to be. They're more future-oriented. They're more intentional about who they want to be in social situations. So it's like, I want to have this type of interaction with Louis today. That's intentional. They're more clear about what skills they need to develop to reach their next level of success.
Right.
Here's how you really know an underperformer. Open up their calendar and look for any evidence that they have planned their own curriculum for greatness. If they don't have classes or courses, if they're not actively skill building, there's no chance of high performance.
Don't forget to celebrate and integrate the wins. Don't forget to celebrate and integrate the wins. What should I do with my life? Well, align with those things that make you feel alive, deepen your relationships, chase meaningful pursuits, and grow. And don't forget along the way to celebrate and to integrate the wins. Now, these are 2 different things, by the way. Lots of people celebrate, but they don't integrate the win. I want you to do both. Celebrate means, hey, you had a good day? Great. Go for a walk. Tell your spouse about it. Celebrate. Call a friend. Celebrate. Celebration for the human species is about social sharing. Yes, you can crack open that champagne by yourself and celebrate, but when you share the win with somebody else, whole different level of impact in your heart and your soul. That's celebrating. Share it with other people. Small wins. I put up my website today. I got that promotion. I said I was going to complete that project. I completed it. It's okay to celebrate and talk about your wins. We still live in a society where we're supposed to be all coy about our wins and our achievements. I'm like, why? By the way, I'm not one of those people. I don't show you my jet and my cars and my houses. And I'm not that person of like, look at me celebration. But if we hang out, we talk, I'm like, oh my gosh, I finished my book last night. Oh, I really want to donate to this thing. I got to do it. I celebrate the things that I'm doing that are meaningful pursuits. That's important. But integrating the wins is something separate. Integrating the wins means you sit with the win, you meditate on it, and you acknowledge yourself, you acknowledge your efforts, you acknowledge the outcome, and you cheer yourself on to keep going. You integrate into your psyche, into your identity, a person who is capable, a person who manifested something, a success. You speak to yourself in such a way that you acknowledge your effort, you acknowledge the impact, and you say, keep going. What it does is it builds a character that knows it's capable. And so many of us, you've achieved a ton of things, but you've never given yourself any credit for any of it. So you're still with the self-esteem of a teenager when you should be a capable, confident 45-year-old woman. I know you're not all 45-year-old women, apologize, but you get the idea. Some of you are still sharing your insecurities as high school students, even though you have a job, you have a house, you've made your house payment, you're doing good work in the world, and you're still lacking all self-esteem. Why? You were never taught and you never learned to integrate the win. Integrating the win can be as simple as, at the end of the day, to sit down and journal on the good things that happen, acknowledge that you worked hard for it, cheer yourself on as someone who's capable, and tell yourself to keep going. You that simple. You can celebrate yourself just for being alive and surviving this far.
The habit is generate energy.
Okay.
Not necessarily have energy.
Create energy.
Create energy. And what they do, the way we measure that was kind of academic. Mental energy, which is tied to your focus and your stamina and your ability to manage complex tasks without too much mental stress. Number 2 is emotional energy, which is just the quality of your positive emotions. And number 3 is physical energy. High performers are 40% more likely to work out 5 times per week than the rest of their peers. So that means the top 15% most high-performing people in the world tend to work out 5 days per week. And that workout could be defined as, 45-minute brisk walk or, HIIT intensity or whatever it is, but 40% more likely. That's a huge finding. And what we found is high performers just have better well-being and happiness and physical conditioning than everybody else. One stunning finding was CEOs, senior executives, and business owners, they report expending as much energy as athletes who are competitive now.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. I was surprised by that. I would have thought, athletes would be 10% more.
I mean, the emotional and mental energy
Yeah.
they have to, the decision making, the conversations, the big deals, the stakeness.
Yeah.
It's a lot of energy.
It's a lot. And that's why, if you really want to achieve your dreams, you have to care for your body.
Yeah.
Your mind. That's why all these things, finally resonating in the marketplace because the science of meditation or taking a break or, managing your own energy. Sleep is everything.
Yeah.
And I think all of that is really important. And we say generate energy because there's this myth that, some people have happiness or they have, it's like, no, you generate it. You don't have happiness. You generate it.
Create it, yeah.
You create it. And so the quality of your energy you have to create.
I tell people, don't forget that the light in a dark room only exists because of the dark. But that light grows as you open that door a little bit more. And you're not so closed anymore. And people fail to realize and go this deep on resilience. Most people are like just mental toughness. And I'm like, yeah, how about we start with, instead of mental toughness, we start with emotional openness. Because if we start with emotional openness, when we open that door a little bit to our truth, to our real thoughts, our real feelings, our real desires, our real needs, when we open the door just a little bit more, that light comes in a little bit more. And the more open we learn to be emotionally, mentally, spiritually, the more we tend to notice the light of the world. When we close down and shut within, and we obsess about and stay static, frozen about the monsters, that's a long, dark night of the soul. So I want to remind you, you can open up again. That might be the first next right step for you, to open, to express, to share. Even if that just means you sit down with your own journal and acknowledge it and write it down. This doesn't mean you need to go do Instagram posts. What it means is sometimes literally just writing about it can help you activate a different part of your mind, can help you gain control over it by giving it voice.
People have to have that balance of those recharge and recovery moments,
right,
and those moments of like being in the game.
Sure.
And so much of what people don't realize is you're always in the game. Everything you're doing now is preceding that next thought.
Right.
Everything you were doing, 4 hours ago is, and what you put in your body 4 hours ago is preceded the energy you feel now. And I tell people, you don't realize you're always a little bit in training. You're always setting yourself up for success or failure. And it doesn't mean you have to be like on all the time. It just means be deliberate and thoughtful about your habits and what you're doing throughout the day so that you can quickly call forth your genius. That you can quickly and easily flow into the things with your most exceptional side, that you can be intentional and thoughtful and kind with other people because you are in touch with your full humanity. Because what most people are doing is they're so disconnected from their body, so disconnected from their mind.
Because they're just going.
And they're running, they don't realize it, but it shows up in their life. They're running in an avoidant strategy in their life, right? And because avoidance feels amazing. Avoidance is a great short-term strategy to guarantee comfort and safety.
Wow.
And avoidance is also a great long-term strategy to guarantee suffering. Right? So avoidance now feels good. Avoidance later will wreck your life. If you keep avoiding life, and what most people are doing is they're avoiding their absolute best. They're avoiding it because the absolute best requires them to put it out there a little bit more. The absolute best requires them to like use their brain harder, their physical body harder.
Schedule. There is no discipline without a schedule. It's so easy. If your calendar doesn't have anything in it the next 6 weeks, don't be mad at yourself for lacking discipline. No one shows up on a day and goes, it's discipline day, and has nothing to do. Discipline requires a schedule. So fill out your schedule, work the schedule. Fill out the schedule, work the schedule. Fill out the schedule, work. As you fill out your schedule and you work the schedule, you get more self-trust. With that self-trust comes confidence. From that confidence comes more competence. We gain more mastery and we're in the game more. We feel good about ourselves. The progress mind loves it, eats it up. It's like, hey, we're doing it. We said we were going to do it. We did it. We moved towards our outcome today with a schedule. What an idea, right?
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome. For 10 more amazing rules from Gary John Bishop, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
It doesn't matter who made the mess. Here's what matters. If you're going to live with it, you should clean it up.
Your past lives on in the kind of language you've used to capture it.